Matt Simmons here, mattsimmons.org. Man, I was sitting here thinking, and we are living in an amazing time right now. Absolutely amazing. The world's changing. Things are happening. Corona, all of it. Of course, the outcome isn't good. The economy could tank. Like, tons of stuff could go wrong. But here's the deal. Wealthy people are looking at this as an amazing opportunity right now. Wealthy people, investors, love these kind of situations. Why? Because stuff is cheap. It's cheap and it's easy to get. And so they got a bunch of money sitting on the side and they can go in and they can get it. If they have any idea of what they're looking for, what they're after, they're specialized in their area and they're just making a killing right now, right? And they will continue to make a killing as long as this goes. It's no different for us spiritually. Why do we not recognize that? The cross is the doorway to resurrection. The cross is the doorway. That's why in our Roman church we emphasize the cross. It's the precise doorway, the portal to new life. What I love about the Byzantine church is that they focus on the resurrection and they stay in the resurrection, right? But the pathway and the doorway through is the cross. And we have to get used to walking through this, right? There is a lot to be had right now, a wealth of spiritual growth to make right now. We're in a beautiful time of richness. There's riches everywhere. See, the thing is in the Christian life though, is that the riches are the pain. The riches are the difficulties. The riches are the sufferings. The riches are all the stuff that we don't in our humanity want to embrace and we want to run away from as fast and as quick as possible. That's where the wealth is. That's where the riches are for us. So right now we have tons of situations like that. Fear, wealth. That's some dollar signs right there, some spiritual dollar signs. You got insecurity, spiritual dollar signs. You don't know if you're gonna have a job, spiritual dollar signs. Your kids are annoying, spiritual dollar signs. Tired talking to your wife or your husband, dollar signs galore. We've got a wealth of it. You're tired of looking at your house, wishing the thing was remodeled, dollar signs. Every last bit of pain and difficulty right now are the dollars. They're the spiritual dollars. Why? Because the cross is the entry to resurrection. So, how do we take advantage of this wealth that's just sitting out there, moment by moment in our life experience, right? How do we go pick up the dollars? Well, when you have fear, pause for a minute. Bring the fear out. Be afraid. We are totally eclipsed and totally sold out to this idea of running from pain, right? Do you know every successful person, I've done a lot of looking at this the last handful of years, right? I have my apostolate, I have work, I have all these things that I want to grow, and I'm really interested in people. I've always been interested in people. One of the things I've been looking at lately is successful people, right? In a whole various genres and businesses and creativity and all different kinds of areas. And you know what every one of them does with pain? They run into it, right? Will Smith talked about how he's arguably one of the most versatile, successful people. Music, film, right? All of it. He's good at it all and he's been successful in it all. You know what he said? He said when he sees fear, he attacks it. He attacks it and runs right into it and right through it. Because all these different things, fear and all the different pains are just bumps in the road that we have to overcome to get where we're going. That's it. But they're beautiful bumps. And so here's the deal. Because they're money, they're wealth. They're the wealth we have, the spiritual wealth laying out there right in front of us. So fear, what do? Back to this after my little sidetrack there. With fear, let it be there. Feel afraid. Don't run from it. Don't deny it. Just be afraid. And open your heart to Jesus. Invite him to come into it. Jesus, I need you now. Maybe recognize all these crosses. So there's two ways to look at the suffering in our life. One is, oh my God, I'm suffering. I've got all these things happening and my life sucks and everyone's out to get me. I've heard that before from people close to me. It's one way to look at it, and that's what a lot of people look at it. And I'm speaking from a little bit of experience here. Our life has not been without change and not been without difficulty, right? No money at different points. I'll tell you an interesting experience. When I first started speaking, I gave a talk at St. Joe's, which is my parish now, and our diocese, one of the wealthier parishes, which is not to say I'm wealthy, but we live in that parish now. And I gave some talks there. Well, when I quit tattooing and moved into this line of work, we wound up at FoodNet. And I'll tell you an interesting experience is when you go to speak at a parish like that one night, and then a week later, you're going through FoodNet at a church, and here's a person who you talked to after you spoke. And they're sitting there and they're like, hi. Like, oh my God, what just happened? You're here, right? Suffering in that way. My wife had brain surgery last May. We moved, new job. I get this new job. Moral collapse in our church, right? Like, I mean, just stuff. Life happens, right? Life happens. Enter into it. Open your heart to the Lord. Invite him into it. Aquinas does not say grace builds upon nature. He says grace perfects nature. So bring your imperfect nature in fear, anger, frustration, bitterness, worry, distress, whatever it is, whatever that imperfection is, bring it to him and invite him into it so he can perfect it. He can enter into that storm and perfect it. He's already there in your pain and suffering. See, the other way to look at it, pain and suffering, is he already entered into all of it. On the cross, all the pain and suffering that ever was or ever will be, he entered into. So really, you're sharing in his suffering with him. You're the one going through it experientially right now, but he went through it before you. He's already in it. What he didn't promise you or me was that he was going to take away suffering, that he was going to take away pain. What he promised was to be with us in it. Loneliness is the killer. It's not the fear, it's not the insecurity, it's not the pain, it's not the worry, it's not the financial collapse, it's not the misbehaving children, it's not the wife or husband who doesn't care and doesn't listen. It's loneliness that's the killer in it. Loneliness. But we're not alone because he's Emmanuel, God with us. He's with us right in here. So the pains that you're experiencing, the difficulties you're experiencing, go in there and get your spiritual treasures. This is an amazing time to gain a wealth of spiritual knowledge, a wealth of spiritual understanding, and a wealth of intimacy with our Lord.